Hello there, M.Strange here. I figured since I'm like dancing around all these other things, showing you stuff about the face and the mouth, that I should actually show a quick example of how to rig and skin a jaw for lip sync, for like the auto lip sync that I'm doing. So, again, I'm using Cactus Dan's tools, but you can use the built-in tools, same process, whether it doesn't matter what tool you're using. So I'll go on to a real head, but let's just say this is your head for now. Okay, so let's pretend this is a head. I'll go on to a real head, but I just want to show you a quick example where to put joints, or where you can. So let's say the neck is right here. This is what I do. Now I'm not saying I'm a super expert, but this works for me. So I'll create like a neck joint, and then I don't do the jaw straight off from here. I do another little extra one. Now wherever you put this one is where the jaw is going to pivot. So that's going to be for my lower jaw pivot. This right here. So this will be my lower jaw coming off of here. So then I go like that. So then this is my lower jaw, right? Then I'm going to go back up to this joint, go back to the tool, and then I want to create something. Now this is going to be the pivot for the upper jaw. And I'm going to go like that. And then now this is upper jaw. Now in this case, like a normal person, like, you know, your upper jaw doesn't move. So that one doesn't really matter. So I would, if I was going to have it open, I probably would have put it higher to get a better pivot point. So now we have this lower jaw. That's really all that's important for this, you know, exercise that I want to do. So this is a character that I'm actually using for my new film, and here's the same jaw, except I just put another bone up here for the head, which I'm not even really going to use, but I just did it. So here we go. We have this here, right? So now the thing that I guess a lot of people get mixed up with is a skinning, and skinning can be super complicated, and it can be not super easy, but you got to try not to go nuts with it, because a lot of things can go wrong. So you just got to kind of keep some basic things in mind, so you don't, and like you can tweak stuff forever to try to fix it, but if your weights are really messed up, like smoothing won't fix it, just erase them and do it again. So to skin, you have your joint set up, and then in the Cactus Dan's tools, you go and click on the head that you want to skin, then you click on the joint hierarchy, and then you go bind skin. And then these are the settings that I always use, and you say OK. So now what it's showing you is it created auto weights. So this one is for the neck. So I'm not even using the neck, but when you're skinning something, like all the points have to be skinned to something, like 100%. So you have to make sure there aren't any points on your mesh that aren't skinned to anything or stuck to anything, or else they'll just like freeze in space when you move the model. So if your model is like pulling away, or there's points that are pulling away, it's because they're not weighted 100% somewhere. So this isn't something I'm using, but I'm just gonna do this because that's what I do. So this is the important one, which is the lower jaw. So I'm going to go ahead and just guess, and you have options here whether you want to paint only what you can see or paint through the model. So this is a reason you want to work in symmetry and make sure your model is not rotated or anything weird. You want to make sure it's perfectly isometric so you can paint through the other side. And there are tools to mirror the skin in here too, but I prefer to just do it right from the start. So since I know I want this to move down, I'm just going to go like this, and then I'm going to go into the front view and look at this, and actually that looks pretty good. You can see it's going to cross over his upper lip a little bit, and then I'm going to go smooth it out and smooth this a bunch. And usually, I mean, you'd probably want to use a tablet or something for this, but since I'm just doing this real quick, I'm going to use this, the mouse. So now the upper jaw, like I said, I'm not animating, but like I was telling you before, you need to make sure everything is weighted, like every point is weighted to 100% somewhere on some bone. So I just remembered, you know, I did like half the head with the neck, so then I'm going to do the rest of the stuff that I didn't get before with this one. So I'm gonna do that. Look in the front view. That looks okay. And so smoothing really helps give you a really natural fall off. And I think if you use the built-in Cinema 4D skinning tools, you can actually use like their paintbrush, and they have a brush that has like an auto smooth, and you can just like click on it and smooth the whole model like automatically. So, but these tools have to do it manually, but it's not that big of a deal. So once I've done that, now I should be able to go and open the mouth, right? And so once you do this, you can actually go and turn the joints off. Once you do this, what you're looking for is any weird stuff, like little points that are stuck or popping or whatever, and look at the geometry and make sure that it looks smooth. Like this actually looks pretty good. And you can go back in and look at the weights, and this like looks pretty good. See how it's like pulling some of the points up and making it a little more rounded. So I'm going to go back to this one, just do some of this. But there's one thing that I do with mine that's kind of a problem, is that, see, there is a little bit of a mouth bag, but it's being pulled up with the upper jaw. See that? Like I want it to go in more. So actually I should probably go into this view because it doesn't have the black bars, so you can see it better. So then all you have to do with this is happening because the inside of the mouth is weighted on the upper jaw, so it's not being pulled down. So all you do, see, I set the weighting to 0. So now it's saying, yeah, all these points that are in here aren't going to be pulled or stay in place to the upper jaw. They're going to go ahead and come down with the lower jaw. And it looks kind of nasty right now, but that's what smoothing is for. And then I'm going to go into the lower jaw and then weight these at 100. Oh, but I want to make sure only visible, or else it'll paint through to the back of the head. So let's go like this, and you can see how it's like pulling those points down, kind of making it go into the mouth a little bit deeper like we want it to. So for my purposes, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint the inside of the mouth black, so you won't even be able to see inside it, so that's fine. And then I'm going to go and smooth out these points some more. And actually these look kind of funky right here, so I'm going to smooth it out for the upper jaw too. So the big deal with skinning or trying to get it right is, number one, the first factor is your topology. So like this topology isn't perfect, but as you can see there's like a loop for the mouth. So that helps when you're skinning or doing this kind of deformation. So you want to make sure you have the right kind of topology, and then, you want to make sure everything's symmetrical too. And then when you're painting this stuff, you want to try to get it right the first time with your 100% paints or whatever, and then if there's just minor things, you want to go ahead and smooth them. So now we can look from the side and we'll see if there's any other issues or whatever with this. And see, it'll show you the limits that this guy can close his mouth. So let's say you want to close these lips even more, then you could just use a morph on top of that to do it. But this looks pretty good. But there's always something that I'm having to do, is like, see, it looks okay, but then it's kind of cutting into his neck right here. So that just means that the weights for the lower jaw went a little too far over here. So let's go back to set and set them to 0, and then take this off. So this is set at 0 again, and then try to smooth that out and not let it go over so far, because it's only the stuff that's painted that's going to be able to deform. So, and it did it a little bit better, but we're still getting some of that stuff. And so the thing, what you need, so if you want points to stay in place, you have to make sure that they're weighted on some other joint. So I'm going to make sure that these points are painted on the neck so that they can stay in place when I try to modify the lower jaw. So let's go and smooth this out again and see if maybe this works. I don't think this is going far enough, but we'll try it. So we can go and try this again, and that's actually pretty good. So hopefully I showed you a little something on how to do this, and it's the same process, you know, whether you're using the built-in tools or Cactus Dan's. And you can always go, even once it's rigged, like see how this looks kind of weird because these points aren't moving at all. So you can always go back in and, you know, smooth out your weights some more and tweak them out to pull them over, because smoothing does a lot. So it might just be this model in the shape of his jaw, but yeah, so then there's tweaking involved, and you know, we could even go to the front view and, you know, say we don't want this to move at all, then we can, you know, undo some of that or smooth that out. But yeah, so those are the basics of, I guess, creating a little jaw joint and skinning it. So yeah, and if he was talking, I would only have him going like this. He wouldn't open his mouth that extreme, so that might not even be a problem. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I'll keep making more things as I'm going forward in my work. So until next time, M.Strange saying the bye.